steam is gone, sir.
Yes, this is where we will build our farm. This is where we will build our future.
Hi everybody and welcome to the channel. I am Richard. Today I'm gonna bring you with me into the future. A cold future, a dark and hard, rough future where man have completely destroyed the environment. And now Europe is under thick ice. The only way to survive is to wander long distances and watch the steam columns slowly subside, and eventually we will be able, hopefully if we survive, to put up our farms. I'm going to show you Steamwatchers. This big beautiful box right here is a 2 to 5 player game. It's around 90 minutes of gameplay depending on how many you are, and it's from 14 years and above. This is a really strategic, a lot of fun game where you need to plan ahead of your movements, where you want to deploy your men and women, and where you want to fight and not fight. I'm going to show you the setup of this game. I'm going to show you an overview of this game. So let's just have a look at it. This is the setup of the game. It has quite a beautiful table presence, right? I mean, look at it. In the middle you have the big map of a frozen Europe. You have some steam column cards all mixed up together and ready to go. You have two tokens here placed out. One is the Haven token, placed on the Haven symbol. The other is the Christmas token, placed on the Christmas symbol. Here we have some farms. We have some morale cubes, the yellow ones. We have some contraband fuel. And we have some regular fuel. We got some steam columns, some turrets, some death and exile, and the round tracker, plus some quarantine tokens. Then we have some Archon cards that should be shuffled real good and placed next to the playing area. Now we need to decide who's the first player, and we can do this any way we like to. We could fist fight, spin a bottle, we could use an app, we could do rock, paper, scissors. It doesn't really matter as long as there are one player that is randomly selected to be the first. Now, this player gets to pick a clan board first of everybody. And it might be a little bit hard in the start to pick a clan of your choice because they have different abilities, they have different starting forces, and it might be a little bit tricky to figure out which one to go with first. But once you have picked one, you take the clan, you put it in front of you, and then you take your little token here, placing it on the title claim track, choosing a title for your clan. Also choosing in which order you would like to go in the game. Once the player to the right is done with their picking, it's time for the player to the left to pick their board as well. And they do the same thing. They pick up a clan, they pick up the starting equipment, and they take their little token here and put it on one of the available titles on the title track. Last thing all the players needs to do is to put out their little color token of their clan on the Geo Resources track, also called Geo track. This track shows the quantity of Geo that you have under your control during the start of a round. So now the player have chosen a title, they have taken all their units, their farms and turrets. They need to fill up with pure algo fuel on their board, contraband algo fuel. They need to put this little token here on 0 on the incubation track. They need to put their supply marker on number 10 on the supply track. They need to take all their order tokens, their special order tokens, and their Cariner's career tokens. The last player to choose their clan gets to be the first player to choose a deployment card. These cards have 3 different regions stated on them. This is where this player will deploy their starting units, but also get to place one steam column in one of the regions. Plain areas and mountain areas can have a maximum of 5 units and 2 buildings. Ice areas can never contain units or buildings. Once the player have picked the card he wants, he gives the rest of them to the player on his right. So now we actually get to play the game. We've done the setup, we've placed all our little men here, and we are ready to go. The first thing the first player needs to do is to move the round token 1 step. Then we need to look at the title claim track. Remember, we put our little tokens here and claimed one of the titles. Now we need to look at the track to see who gets to go first. The player with their token on the first one is the first one that gets to move their token from the tile track to the conclave track, putting their little token on the same symbol matching the one on the title track. Depending on which title you will claim on the title track, you will get different abilities. The Watcher, for example, will let you draw 3 Steam column cards and put them in your hand. Discard one of them and put out a Steam column matching the one on the card discarded. The Carinus Legate token lets you take this and put it in one of the Ice Flow contracts areas. This token is now treated as one of your contract but does not take up contract space for you. The Archon title will let you draw 3 Archon cards from the Archon deck. Take them to your hand, read one out loud, put it face up next to the Archon pile. This effect will be active until a new Archon cards will cover this one. The last title we have is the Prismus. This one is quite cool. It will let you take up this token on your hand and put it on the title track, covering over one of the titles except the Prismus and making this space unavailable for other players. You also get to take one of your units and put them in one of the areas that you control. Just mind the capacity. So that was phase number 1. Now we move into phase number 2. This is where we get to place out some orders. These orders should be placed in the areas where you have units. Now buildings do not count as units, and you can only place one of these in each area. They should be placed with your clan side facing up, meaning the order side facing down. But what are the different orders, Richard? Well, I'm going to show you that. We have, for example, a decoy. This one is pretty sneaky. This one is placed out to fool your opponents. So this one will actually not do anything at all, but your opponent might think that you are going to move or fight them or something, but it's actually just a blind. Then we have this one, which is move. This one will let one of your units move 1 step. The last one we have is defense. This will give you 1 extra defense if you are attacked. The defense action doesn't only give you 1 defense, it also lets you either build 1 turret or simply wait and let the turn go to the next player, use the special action to mobilize units, or use the other special action to barter. Just be aware, because some of these will cost you contraband fuel and raise your incubation level. This down here, for example, will let you mobilize 2 units or 1 special unit. This one will let you use force march, move your units 2 steps instead of 1, and this one will let you barter with the Cariners. If you have units in an area with a haven looking like this, you can choose to barter. And when you barter with the Cariners for contracts in an ice flow area. So when you choose the special ability barter, you take your little clan symbol here and you simply put them in one of the contract spaces. This means that now you can use the ice road as well. Special abilities are awesome, but some of them comes with a price of you paying algo fuel. If you have regular fuel, you can of course use the regular fuel and nothing will happen. But if you're all out of fuel, you would need to use contraband fuel. Every time you use contraband fuel, your incubation level will rise. During the first steps, nothing will happen, but when you come up to the symbol here, you need to place out a quarantine token in one of your free spaces, blocking out that space. Once you come up to the skull, things goes really bad, because then you would need to put one of your units on the death and exile tile. Now, this unit is no longer a part of your army and will never ever be again. Every time your incubation levels rises from now on, you will lose one unit. So now that we have placed our orders and we feel more or less happy about them, it's time for us to reveal the orders. This is done simultaneously, meaning that all players flip around their orders at the same time to show what they have in mind. So once every player have revealed their orders, we move into phase number 3. This is where we actually activate our orders. Going around the table from player to player, the player gets to activate their order, do the actions, and then move on to the next player. This player here, for example, would like to move one step, leaving this area, meaning that they get the chance to actually build a beacon here. So this area will still be under their control. The yellow player over here wants to move into the purple players over here. They have a defense value of +1. They have a move 1, so they move into the purple players area, now initiating a battle. So now it's time for us to calculate the battle result, which is not that hard in this case. Each basic unit here is worth 1 strength, meaning that the yellow one have 2 strengths, because it's 1 + 1 is 2, right? And the purple one has 2 basic units, so they have 2 strengths. But they also have a defense token. This one is worth +1, remember? So the purple player actually has a strength of 3, and the yellow one has a strength of 2. But you can also have elite units. These ones are actually worth 2 strength instead. Or if you have a defense turret, these ones will also be worth 2 strengths. But an attacker or defender can also choose to call in support. To do this, you simply remove one of your unused order tokens and start to calculate this support into the battle as well. But they need to be adjacent. Now, this would mean that this attacker would all of a sudden have 1 + 1 + 2 attack points instead. Once you have calculated the strength of your units on the map, either by defense turrets or tokens or support units or whatever you want to use, you have one last chance to make sure that you are the winner, because you need to bring out your combat dial here and start to sacrifice algo fuel. Now, you will need to have the algo fuel in your supply, of course, but for every algo fuel that you throw away, you will get 1 extra strength. These dials should be set secretly, preferably under the table, for example, so no noisy neighbors can watch it, and then shown simultaneously. If the attack was successful and the attacker won, the loser, the defender in this case, will lose 2 of their units. If they have more than 2 units, the remaining ones would have walked into an adjacent area under their control. They will also lose their token, and if they have a beacon in this area, this beacon will go back into the box. If there would have been any building here, they could have chosen to destroy them. The one that won the battle now gets to control this area, and they also get to place a moral cube on this area. This cube will grant them 2 extra strength during this round. If the attack was a complete failure, the attacker would lose 2 units. If they would have had more than 2 units, the rest of the survivors would move back into where they came from. This is the way phase number 3 keeps on going until all orders have been done, or if players have passed. That's right, you can choose to pass as well. Every time you have done an order and you are done with that order, you should remove the token from the area and put it back to your supply. Now we move into phase number 4. This is where the steam subside. Going in order according to the title track, each player first start to remove 1 level of steam from the steam columns in areas where there are no units. removing 1 Steam and leaving the rest. Once you have gone through all the areas with no units, you move into the areas where you have units. If you have units in an area where Steam is about to subside, you need to increase your incubation level by 1. But if you are in an area where the Steam disappears, you still need to raise your incubation level by 1, but you get the opportunity to build a farm, paying 1 algo fuel. We are now in the 5th and final phase of this round, which means that it's time for us to do the wipeout phase. This is where somebody actually might win the game. But first, we need to calculate how many geo points we have been able to gather during this round. To do this, we need to calculate all the Steam levels in areas of our control and plus them together with the farms that are in the areas that we control. Once we have done that, we take that amount and we move our little token up the geo track. We need to take our supply marker and put it in a new supply spot where it matches our new geo value. Which means that if I have a +8 on the geo track, I should now put my supply marker on 16 instead. In phase 5, we also have some cleanup steps. If we want to keep the contract with the Cariners, we need to pay 1 algo fuel, or we need to take back that token and put it in our supply. We need to take back any order tokens that haven't been used. We need to remove any moral cubes that have been left after battles. We have to put back the legate token on the conclave track and put the primus token back on the conclave track as well. But how do you win this game? Well, there's really 3 different ways. One of them is if one player managed to eliminate all other clans. That is a tough one, so if you do that, well, congratulations. The second one is if one player meets the conditions of a scenario and becomes the supreme leader, then that player would be the winner. If nobody reaches the scenario goals, it is the player that has the most amount of geo points at the end of the last round. So how is the artwork in this game? Well, it's pretty damn beautiful. You even get a little book here with a story of all the different clans. It really tells you just the backstory of them and where they are at the moment when you enter the game, and it gives you quite a good intel on whether or not you would like to play a certain character. And the art here is just really nice. The rulebook is quite easy to understand, and there is a good picture of all of the components in them. What they do, what they don't do, what you use them for, what you don't use them for. It is pretty easily standed up, and in the back you have a pretty good index on where all the things that you are looking for actually are. The clan boards are easy to read, they have beautiful colors, again with the beautiful artwork. Everything is stated out on the side what the different special units does from each different clan. Everything fits good on the board except the algo fuel that really just moves around as fast as you move the board. Why does these not fit in these holes better? And if we look at the map, we can see that it's quite well made. This is the neon map and it's just beautiful. The colors are great, the lines are really clear. There's really never a question on where you can or cannot go because it just makes sense when you look at it. And even though this is the neon map, the board also looks really well. Same thing with the miniatures here. They're really well made, they're cool small miniatures. Every clan have their own special little mini with their own little army with their own abilities. The cool beacons here that you can put up, it's really well made. I quite like this, but I do not understand why they have made the steam look like bubbles coming up from an aquarium. This one could have been made better. In this box you also have a pretty neat storage solution because each clan have their own little box where you fit everything in. The miniature, the tokens, everything. So once you have done hours and hours of gameplay, you can just give one box to your friends and they can do the cleanup for you, minimizing your labor. You also have boxes for all of the buildings, the tokens, the allo fuel, the turrets, everything fit perfectly down in this box. Everybody should just do this. So there you have it, people. That was Steamwatchers for you from Mythic Games. This game might look like a lot, but it's really not that complicated. Once you have started playing it, once you have started to look over the rules, you will realize that most of this actually makes kind of good sense. And once you have just played a round or two, you will really get into it quite fast. There's a lot of things a player can do in this game. There's a lot of different strategies, and there's a lot of different ways to win the game. This game is for you if you like to play strategic war games, area control games, where you like to sit down and try to take out your friends. I really enjoyed this, and I also got a bunch of expansions for this game as well, and one day when I have time, I'm going to show you these ones as well. They're also quite cool, and it kind of changes the rules a bit. So I'm going to take a look at that later. If you like this video, which I hope you did, please give me a thumbs up on it. If you like this channel and if you like what I do and you want to support me, but also give me a smile on my lips, please subscribe to this channel. Leave a comment, tell me what you thought about it. I would love to talk to you. And until next time, people, please take care. Please keep on spreading that board gaming love that I know you all have. Peace out.